What's going on, guys? Welcome into the Daily Wolves Courtside. I am your host, Matt, today joined with Carly and Jeff. We are here to talk about a very tough and embarrassing Timberwolves loss, once again to an opponent that felt very beatable and should have been very beatable, scoring a second season low 96 points in a game. Yeah, let's just talk about it. What is going on with this Timberwolves team? What has been wrong over the last couple weeks? Now dropping a game to LA you should have won, dropping a game to the Pelicans a few nights ago, and like 3 days prior to that, you drop a game to a hobbled Grizzlies team. What is going on with the Timberwolves? Jeff, Carly, what do you guys think?
Yeah, this is a game where there's no Zubac anymore. Harden's traded, Garland's hurt. There's just really no excuse for a game like this. And obviously Kawhi was unreal, but I have a feeling that even if he didn't play, we probably still would have had trouble in this game. I don't know if we would have won this game even if Kawhi's not there. The offense in the half court, there's just no rhythm to it. They're just every time they drove, it felt like they turned it over. And so then they were just settling for early in the shot clock, bad threes. The pin downs with Dante, just he's taking these wild turning threes, and you're just like, that's just not good offense. And then we tried to force the ball to Rudy at certain points, and he after coming out and having this, we need to be better, we need to try harder, he had a very bad game. So that's just tough.
Carly, what do you think?
I was trying to think of if I felt worse last year during this time or this year. And the Timberwolves love to go back to old patterns. And I'm like, oh, shit, is this just an old pattern of last year? But I think I felt worse last year. So good news, everybody. I feel like last year was worse. But I don't. This motion offense we try to run where no one's breaking open hard enough and defense is getting in passing lanes, it's so hard to watch. And then they're not listening to the coaches, why is that happening? Why are we going to ISO when it's not working? And it's just you start to feel crazy because you're rewatching the same game, different team all the time.
Absolutely, I agree. And I would assume you guys saw it today just on the broadcast. They talk about how Ant just historically has struggled versus the Clippers, you know? And I think part of it kind of has to do with that stagnant offense. He has just had a hard time with Chris Dunn, with Kawhi Leonard, with Derek Jones, even if you guys think back to the Western Conference Finals a few years ago. Those players have just had Ant's number. And when your offense relies, I don't want to say solely, but a good chunk of it is relying on your one player's gravitational pull and how hot he is or cold he is, it just makes it just makes it that much sloppier. It makes it that much more difficult to watch when he's not on. And then on top of that, tonight, when none of your role players are playing well, Nas Reed had 8 points, shot 4 for 9 from the field. Where's the Dante DiVincenzo scored 1 point and fouled out and didn't make a field goal tonight. Jaden McDaniels took 4 shots tonight. And yeah, it's been an embarrassing hard watch. And I feel like that the Wolves need to figure out something else on the offensive side of the ball other than just here and save us, because that's just kind of what it's felt like. And we've touched on it really briefly before, just in past episodes, about that, this problem needs to be addressed. And it's one of those things that, is Chris Finch willing to change anything? And like, you see all these comments here, Finch is gone, fire Finch. I feel like we got to talk about it. Does it feel like the locker room is kind of losing Finch to a degree after these 3 sloppy losses? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, after last year where Grizzlies fired Jenkins and the Nuggets fired Michael Malone right before the playoffs started, I'm like ready for a coach to be fired at any moment. So I don't think Finch is like fully on that hot seat yet, partially because I don't know if there's anybody there like we need to replace him, because like I feel like Mike Nori's probably like pretty similar to Finch. It's not like it'd be drastically different if we went to one of our assistant coaches from what Finch is doing. But yeah, I'm starting to wonder, because they were saying, Michael Malone was saying you can only air them out 5 times a year maybe. after that, they start not listening. So I after what Rudy said, my cousin, he messaged me. He's like, "Oh, would this be a good game to like bet on Ants over?" And I'm like, a 2 o'clock Sunday game, like I don't trust them at all. I don't feel like they get up for that type of game. And at some point, like the coach has to get them to do something.
Yeah, I'm probably more on I defend Finch probably more than people like.
Yeah.
And I say that because I think the relationship between Ant and Finch is super important. And God forbid we bring in a different coach where that vibe is not clicking in. And what does that do? It it's a weird dynamic because on paper and the experience that the guys have with one another, you think that they'd be better at calling each other out, like who's the adult in the room. And then if Finch isn't the adult, I mean, maybe we bring back Mike Conley, right? And he's the adult that, he went away, and look what happens when Mike Conley's out. I don't know. Give him the clipboard, like make Mike the coach. Then I don't know. But the All-Star break needs to come, and they all need to, I don't know, like reset clearly. Something needs to.
Absolutely do. And that kind of on the topic of the All-Star break and just needing that, I'm pretty sure that Ant did make a comment a few days ago about, I'm not too sure if I'm going to play in the All-Star game. I'm pretty banged up. And I feel like tonight you kind of saw it too. And especially in the first quarter, because Ant this year, he's been uber aggressive, getting to the mid-range, been driving to the cup and making it at a career high, making it at an all-time best. And you can kind of tell when something's nagging him. He gets super or he's not as aggressive, I should say. He just kind of relies on the jump shot a lot, and like you saw tonight, shot 0 for 4 in the first quarter, shot 1 for 8 from 3 in general. So I think kind of like you said, Carly, the All-Star break is going to be very important for this team. You just need to get healthy. Julius has also been dealing with that thumb soreness. You can get Ayo Dosunmu incorporated in this team. I know he's kind of one of those plug and play guys, but everybody has a role, and Ayo, I should say, is going to figure out his role. And I guess, on the topic of Ayo Dosunmu, obviously it's kind of hard to gauge his performance in a game that you get blown out by almost 30 points. But what did you guys think of Ayo's performance to just first one of the year? Carly, I want to start with you. What do you think?
Yeah, it made me excited. At first, when him and Bones were on the court at the same time together, I was like, interesting, but I liked it. Io, Nas, and Bones, I liked that little run that they had and just pushing pace. He seems like a taller, better defender, more mature Rob Dillingham in a way that just was missing. I like his demeanor. What I saw so far made me excited, and I feel like I'm always reminding people that TJ is still there. He's a question mark, but I think of TJ's energy, Bones' energy, and Io's energy, and I like that. That makes me excited.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes when you're going to a new team, it's really hard to carve out like this is what I do, and so your teammates know like, all right, he likes the ball in the corner at this time. Like just like I remember when we first got Torian Prince, the first month he was with us, I was like, this guy is the worst player in the league. Then once they started getting some chemistry, started working together, I really liked him the rest of the time we had him, and so it was kind of encouraging that like. First game, there was times where he disappeared, but he was never like a full negative. He hit his threes that were open. That I liked on that first bucket he had. Just like I thought he was going to settle for a contested shot, and he drove in and just scooped it in like just a little layup. And I was like, okay, that's somebody getting downhill, somebody breaking the paint, because that's definitely what we need is somebody that's actually going to drive and get to the cup and not just settle for fadeaway threes and stuff.
Absolutely. And before we continue talking about Io's debut and kind of getting into some other topics about the game.
What's up, Minnesota fans? Many of you know that I help fans get tickets into games, and now I'm giving you an opportunity to get tickets to any sporting event you want, not just basketball. We're talking football. We're talking hockey. We're talking soccer, man. Any sporting event that's in town, or maybe it's a concert. All you have to do is use my promo code, The Daily Wolves, all caps, on SeatGeek. That's right, I partnered with the SeatGeek app. You can download it on iOS or Android devices. You can find it on your web browser at SeatGeek.com. Check it out today. Enter my promo code, The Daily Wolves, and get $20 off your first order.
Big shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring today's episode. As you guys heard, go use the code The Daily Wolves for $20 off your first order. Yeah. Like you said, Jeff, kind of just to continue on the Io topic, is I thought that when he got his touches, he looked really good for being a new piece who didn't necessarily know what to expect, I guess you could say, coming into this team, not really knowing a role, because Io's never played with with two players at that matter of Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle, who have the ball in their hands as much. So I guess just kind of too touching on the topic of that for Wolves fans watching this, if you guys see Io's scoring numbers kind of take a dip this year, or just when he's with us, that's kind of going to be why. Ant and Julius are such high usage players. When Jaden's having a game, he takes a shit ton of shots and he shoots like 70%. He's going to eat up some of Io's shots. And the same thing with Naz Reid, too. So I don't think you're going to see Io's 15 points a game. And if you do, great. The Wolves are going to be a very hard team to beat if he's still giving you 15 a night. But yeah, super exciting, super promising debut for Ayo Dosunmu. And then, yeah, something else that I kind of wanted to touch on going back that I just remembered to the stagnant offense is when the 3-point shot isn't falling, and it kind of feels like with this team, it's a live by the three and die by the three. But the strange part is we shoot like the 13th most threes in the league. So we're in that middle of the pack range. But and maybe this is just like frustration and emotion getting the best of me, just being a fan watching it. But tonight you shoot 24% from three. And then I'm gonna pull it up here. And against the Pelicans, I don't believe it was good. 13 for 40, 30% shooting. It that goes back to that stagnant offense again. Just being in the half court, there was, I want to say it was in the second quarter, late second quarter, maybe after the third quarter run, that it just becomes when we get frustrated, it becomes a pass, a shot, an ISO possession, another ISO possession. And yeah, it's it's so frustrating to watch because you just want to scream, yell, shake, throw whatever you have, like you're the nearest inanimate object at your TV, and this can't keep happening, especially in games that are this quote unquote insignificant, you would like to say, but clearly, every game matters for us right now. There's no easy wins. We have a super easy schedule throughout the remaining month. We have a 6-game homestand coming up, so you're really hoping things can start to get cleared up just before the All-Star break, ideally, but after, I feel like that's kind of the realistic thing at this point. It seems that there's a bunch of bumps. Seems like there's a bunch of just lows. We're in a low that the team needs to figure out. I guess what would you guys like to see change? I know we kind of already covered the offense, but just like individually, I mean, I feel like Julius Randle has kind of been in a slump offensively. There was a little compilation that went around Twitter of just a poor effort montage, and I'm kind of curious, what do you guys think needs to change from like Julius and even Nas? They've both been having some cold streaks.
Yeah, Julius is interesting because I think people perceive it as low effort. I perceive it as like anxiety almost, where he just gets so like frazzled, and I think that he's trying to put in effort. He just loses his head. I actually liked that he kept his head when Dunn just aggressively pushed him when you're up 22 points. Like, that was so weird. But that to me was a moment of like, oh, there's some maturity from Randall at least.
Yes.
Like refine that, find some leadership. I don't, he's earned a leadership position on this team. And I'm again, like it last year he showed it when he came back from injury. And I know I'm kind of branching out and excusing his like skill stuff, but it's just such a head thing, I think, for Randall.
Absolutely. And kind of with you, there just being a lot of perceptions about Julius, we'll say, whether it's effort, whether it's he's just got his own stuff going on, whatever it is. I feel like, that Finch's leash it needs to be a little bit shortened with Julius to a certain degree. You can't keep letting your second best player, and the same thing goes for Ant too. Let me be very clear. Ant's effort on the defensive side of the ball, specifically last game against the Pelicans, might be the worst I've ever seen in his whole career. It seemed like the Pelicans just attacked him time in and time out. Like that looked like the game plan. But back to tonight, yeah, your coach, you need to at some point put your foot down and be like, you guys are our team leaders. You are the engine that makes us run. If you guys aren't going to show effort, we're going to pull you. We did it last year against OKC when we were down in the big game against 25 in the regular season. When we came back, TJ was on the floor, Rob was on the floor, Jaden was on the floor. It wasn't Ant, it wasn't Julius. It was the young guys that were playing with effort. They wanted it. And just kind of on the topic of this wanting it, Johan Berenger, it's such a hard thing to figure out where his spot is in this rotation because right now it feels super matchup based when Finch is playing Johan, but I feel like anytime Johan's been on the floor, it's just been an instant energy boost. It's like it's a younger, very less polished, more agile Rudy with hands. And I'm kind of curious, Jeff, do you think that with Julius kind of being in a lower spot, just struggling, with Rudy not being able to catch the ball again, apparently, and with all the stuff going on in the locker room, do you think it's might just be time that Johan sees like 10 minutes on a consistent basis a night?
Yeah, especially in a game like today where there's like stretches where it just seemed like we gave up for a bit. Like they'd go on an 8-0 run in like a minute after we like had maybe we didn't get a call or something, and all of a sudden it's 3 turnovers, 3 missed shot, layup, and you're like, Jesus, that was quick. And it's just like I don't know when it's just not working why he wouldn't try an injection of a young guy who a lot of those plays where Rudy was getting open and he just like wasn't finishing or he wasn't catching the ball. And I'm just like, try it with Baron J, man. He's got better hands. We know that. It's frustrating because their biggest thing this last month is just they've had so many games with so many turnovers. Like 13 turnovers in the first half of this game is just like so hard to watch. It's just like I would have turned this game off if we weren't doing this post game because it was just not fun to watch. And it's just like we don't have a point guard, but there's like sloppy reasons that we're giving them the ball, and we're not getting any offensive rebounds. There's no hustle on like those loose balls. It's like 50-50, and it's just every single one was getting grabbed by the Clippers because we just weren't sprinting at it, and it's frustrating.
Absolutely. And I actually want to pull up a stat for you guys right here real quick. Let me find it on the topic of that rebounding thing. So in the second quarter tonight, the Clippers outscored us 31-23. The Clippers they made 11 field goals. The Wolves made 10. The Clippers shot 61% from the field, shooting 11 for 18. The Wolves shot 37%, 10 for 27. The Wolves almost doubled the Clippers' rebounding numbers in the second quarter alone. The Wolves had 13 rebounds. The Clippers had 7. And what's the kicker? The Wolves had 7 turnovers to the Clippers' 3.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's such fundamental things with this team that's why I also kind of have a hard time with the Fire Finch because yeah, sure, it is starting to seem like he's losing the locker room, but on nights that you lose, it's such fundamental things that you can't really coach. It kind of comes down to an effort thing, and I think at some point, we are, and I know I don't want to talk about this Finch thing much longer than I have to, but it is starting to get to that point, being a Finch truther, and I want Finch to stay, but it is kind of getting to that point where it's like, a change might need to be made. But with that being said, that's kind of all that I have to talk about for today's game. Is there anything else that you guys would like to cover?
And caught a body that was cool.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the Clippers challenged like the next play after that, and it felt like it took all of our momentum away. But that was a really cool dunk. So that'll be on the highlight packages from now on of adding to his dunk resume.
Absolutely. I
guess last thing, this might just be purely off of vibes and nothing else, but I feel like this year the ceiling feels higher, but the floor feels lower. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like the potential
Absolutely.
is like right there, but last year I felt like we had more of a cushion. Now I feel like our cushion can fall quicker, and that sucks.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree with that full-heartedly. And before we wrap up the show, it is Super Bowl Sunday, so I gotta ask, who do you guys have winning the big game tonight?
I got some money on Seahawks -4.5. So I'm gonna be. I don't want Boston fans have won too much. I don't want them to win anymore.
I agree.
Yeah, Seahawks. I'm bitter that Sam's doing well.
Yeah.
Being honest and being petty about it, but rooting for the Seahawks.
That's valid. I am right in the same boat with you guys. I hate Boston sports. They win all the damn time, but my God, do I love that kid Drake May. I would love to see him turn it around and have a great Super Bowl, but whatever happens, happens. Thank you to Carly. Thank you to Jeff for hopping on the post game with us today. We will be live on Monday after the Atlanta Hawks game. So, yeah, thank you for tuning in to today's episode, and we will catch you next Monday. Go Wolves.